Delle Libellula by Nobile 1942. And the choice is up to you. I may end up with this one too. Oh, wow. Damn, I got skills today. Hey everyone, I'm Moody Boo, and I am back with another comparison video. Now, La Danza Delle Libellula by Nobile 1942 is a favorite of mine, has been for many years. And I've noticed in recent years I am discovering a lot of perfumes that remind me of this one. And yet I have found another one. So I thought I'd go ahead and do a comparison. I only have a sample of it, but it's a beauty. And this is another one by Domaine Prive, and this is Vanille. So anyway, I've been wearing, I did Battle of the Vanillas, recorded that video today. So I already have La Danza on this hand. So I'm just going to add Vanille to this arm so I can give them a good comparison. Now I have been comparing them today, and I do notice the big difference happens with the dry down. It's mostly the top notes and into the midsection of the perfume journey where these two are the closest. I will say that. In the dry down, they really part ways. So all right, let me respray both of them, and then I'll kind of talk about both of them a little bit, especially Domaine Prive, because that's kind of the unknown perfume compared to La Danza. As far as I know, I mean, it's the one I knew the least well. So I'm going to spray again a little more of the Vanille over here, and then more La Danza over here. Now I will say, because of the sprayers, that whole situation with it being a bottle as opposed to a sample, I am getting more of the La Danza on my hand than I did with the Domaine Prive. So I might just give the Domaine Prive one more blast, because there's no way I got as much perfume from this thing as I did from the bottle. So I'm going to give it one more. Yeah. It's absolutely, when I first spray it, where I noticed immediately, because I got this sample from Javoy, and when I was testing it, I was like, oh my God, that's La Danza, and went and started wearing them side by side. And just to reaffirm it, I did the same thing today. So just to remind everybody about La Danza, this is apple, vanilla, cinnamon, coconut, citrus, musk, woods. And when you first spray it, though, it's all about the apple, the vanilla, the cinnamon, and the coconut. Just a hint of vanilla, though, or a hint of cinnamon. The cinnamon is not a dominant note, in my opinion, even though a lot of people have voted for it that way on Fragrantica. There's just a whisper of it to me, enough to give it a little bit of zing. Otherwise, it's all about the apple, vanilla, and coconut for quite some time. Once that dries down, though, I never really get the musk, but I get the cedar and maybe a little bit of citrus, because it's as if this very fresh woody note gets added to the mix. And honestly, that's when I think a little more of the cinnamon comes out as well, but it's never really a dominant note for me. Oh, La Danza is so pretty. It's creamy, it's sweet, it's gourmand without being cloying. Now, Domaine Prive Vanille is just vanilla, rose leaf, and cedar, according to Fragrantica, of course. And the funny thing is that these two are very, very similar in my opinion. This one's a little more ethereal. I don't think it's nearly as creamy and decadent as La Danza is in that initial half an hour to an hour. This one is much more, I think you could wear Domaine Prive more times of the year because of that, because it isn't quite as in your face, eat me kind of a perfume as La Danza is, because this to me is very gourmand. Whereas Domaine Prive's Vanille is gourmand, but there's more to it than that. It's not as creamy, like I said. It's almost as sweet, but it's a very airy, a much more airy kind of a sweet. So it's much more tolerable, I think, in a variety of temperatures. Now, when it dries down, the cedar does come into play, but it's not a dry, powdery kind of a cedar, like a cedar on a hot summer day. This is more of a cedar you would smell on a rainy day, without being super wet. Because of that ethereal airiness of the perfume, which is lovely. It's absolutely lovely. Once it really, really dries down, the rose leaf comes into play. The crazy thing is that it's almost like a rose leaf with a bit of basil or something. In the dry down with La Danza, some of those woods and the cedar comes out from La Danza, but La Danza's is a drier cedar, and it dries out the perfume quite a bit because it's so juicy, creamy at the top. Whereas Domaine Prive, in the dry down, the cedar is more of a moist cedar that comes into play. And so it doesn't add a puffy powderiness to it at all. And then that almost herbaceous rose leaf comes in, and it really adds an interesting quality to Vanille Domaine Prive. On Javoy's website, for a full bottle of Domaine Prive, like I have here with my Chevrolet, these bottles, which are 100 mLs, I believe are 100 euros straight. And a euro is not synonymous with a pound anymore, is it? Because didn't it used to be? Didn't a euro and a pound, weren't they pretty much the same amount, and now they're different? A euro is more than a pound? I don't know. I suck at that kind of stuff. But it's 100 euros, I believe, on Javoy's website. But you're going to pay like $45 for shipping. So it comes out to, unless you live in Europe, and then, you know, I'm sure it's much cheaper for the shipping. So that makes it come out to mid-range, about $150, which is about the same price as La Danza. Now, do I prefer one over the other? That is a good frickin' question. I've been trying to determine that for 2 days. And I think I prefer La Danza because I have a history with La Danza. And it is creamy and more decadent. Now, as far as performance, Vanille by Domaine Prive is slightly less of a performer than La Danza. Now, it doesn't project as much on that first hour as La Danza by any means, because this one, like I said, the Vanille is more ethereal, a little more airy. So when you're smelling it, you're not hit with it quite as much as you are with La Danza, because La Danza's can be pretty intense, that apple, coconut, vanilla vibe. Another thing with Vanille I did notice is there's that minty thing again, just a hint of it in the background. I'm just getting this breath of mintiness almost in the background, which is beautiful. It really adds to it, which La Danza does not have. It does not have that just refreshing kind of a coolness that mint kind of a smell can give. La Danza does not have that. It stays pretty thick and decadent until the woods come in. So whereas La Danza is anchored heavy because it's thick, it's decadent, it's sweet, it's gourmand, it's already anchored to the planet. So when it dries down, it's almost like it's allowed to breathe a little bit with the cedar when it comes in, with that dry cedar. Kind of lifts it up and makes it, you know, kind of mellow out a little bit. But that moist cedar in Domaine Prive in the dry down does kind of the opposite. It pulls that etherealness in a little bit and kind of roots it to the ground just a touch without losing that very pretty, slightly minty, sweet, vanilla, lovely etherealness. I don't know another word for that. Oh, yes. If I had one, would I buy the other? Ooh. Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. Because there are some differences in the deep dry down. And this one you can wear, I think, more often, more times of the year, in more situations. I think it can be fun and frivolous and formal. Whereas this one, I think, is just fun and frivolous, really. So it's not quite as versatile as this one, but this one performs a bit better. So I don't know which one I would say I prefer. And if you had one, I think you would need to get a sample of the other if you had one and answer that question for yourself, because I'm just not sure. I'm so in love with La Danza, and I have been for a very long time. Like I said, history between the two of us. I don't have that with Vanille, but I really, really love it. But I think I would still prefer La Danza just a touch. Oh, I don't know though, that Vanille. It's really pretty. I'm very attracted to this kind of aroma, apparently. All right, that was just a quick comparison of Vanille by Domaine Prive and La Danza Delle Libellula by Nobile 1942. And the choice is up to you. I may end up with this one too. Oh, wow. Damn, I got skills today. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ding, ding, ding the bell and comment if you want. If you don't, it's all good. I still love you. Use your own nose. Peace.